Welcome to Bold, where purpose meets progress and community meets innovation. Today, we spotlight a leader whose vision goes far beyond finance, one that invests in people, possibilities, and progress. As VyStar Credit Union's Vice President of Community Impact, Kamal Gasper embodies what it means to lead with heart. He's a connector, a builder, and a believer in creating pathways for growth, for entrepreneurs, dreamers, and doers alike. From empowering small businesses to championing youth and cultural innovation, Kamal continues to redefine what community investment looks like. Not through transactions, but through transformation. His story reminds us that when we think beyond the numbers, we build legacies that last. So listen closely, because this isn't just about banking. It's about impact, integrity, and what it truly means to think bold. And now, here's how Kamal Gasper thinks bold.
Hey, we're back, y'all. Think bold. We're thinking bold at all times.
All times.
Wow. Today we're excited.
Yep.
This is the Bold Podcast. We're truly excited about our special guest, our partner when it comes to building community.
Yep.
So much to dive into today, so we're very excited. Mr. Kamal Gasper, how you doing there?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you doing? Both
Wonderful.
of you doing?
Yeah. Glad to see you.
Thank you.
This has been some work to get this man here. So
busy man.
I made it.
You made it.
So that's and probably one of the flyest folks in
hands down
in the financial system. Is
Hands
that what
down.
you're gonna call? Is that what we call it? Banking financial system,
credit
unions,
credit
Credit
union
unions.
sector. Yeah.
But financial services.
Oh,
financial services.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's get into some conversations. I mean, number one, we are excited. You saw something several years ago with Think Bold and all the offerings that we're trying to do in the community. But I want to ask you, I know you know about pop culture, just culture in general, the entertainment industry,
Yes.
you know, music, art. We know you go to Coachella every year and all the different festivals and conferences out there. But before we can get into Think Bold, just give me your vision based off of your background.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what were some of your thoughts when it came to branding and supporting VyStar Credit Union's mission? Well, first of all, before we get into that, we got to talk about who you are.
Who am I? Yes.
Yeah. Let's share who you are, and then we get into that.
All
So,
right.
can you tell us a little bit?
So yes, Kamal Gasper, day job vice president of community engagement at VyStar Credit Union, and originally from New York, but have been in Jacksonville since middle school. So I am from Florida. That's what I tell people. But you touched on it a little bit. Both my parents were in the music business. If you needed a jingle in the 70s or 80s or 90s in the African-American community, my mother was the individual corporations, whether that was General Motors or Pepsi or Ford or Popeyes or KFC. Miller Beer was a huge client. So we'll talk a little bit about that and the Luther Vandross connection. So my mother was a person you went to for a jingle. Back then, jingles were very lucrative. So
100%.
you know, the Patti LaBelle's,
Absolutely.
the Queen Latifah's, Will Smith's, Janet Jackson, they all started or had some type of component with jingles.
Yeah.
And then my father was, best way to describe him is he is or was the L.A. Reid of the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. So if you were a black artist, he was the executive A&R for Epic Records.
Wow.
So he was the individual, one of the few back then that was able to bring on African-American artists in the music
And
industry.
that is huge, man.
Yes.
You got to put a pin in that because,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was a select few, you know, now with everybody having such easy access to getting their music out. It wasn't like that back
wasn't-
then.
no,
It was
no.
a handful, maybe.
Nope. And you had a lane, so there
Yeah.
was no crossover. So if you were R&B, you were R&B, and you only played on the R&B, R&B record stations. If you were pop, you were on pop. There was no crossover of genres back then. So that's where I get my passion from from my mother. So she helped a lot of those artists back then really get their brand and get their name out there so they could eventually have their own album, and start to earn money as an actual artist.
Yeah.
And so, you know, she worked with Patty, Melba Moore, Al Green, Luther Vandross, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, and really helped put them in rooms that they were not in. So from Luther Vandross, when he received his BET award, he said, you know, my mom's name, Deborah McDuffie.
Wow.
And they were doing a jingle for a pizza company, and he did his signature sound
Yeah.
Right.
that no one had heard. It just happened on a jingle, and she erased it from the jingle. And she said, put that on your first album.
Wow.
Whoa.
And then she told my father, she said, you have to sign Luther to a record deal. Like you have to. Like, this man is so talented
That is
you have to
amazing.
sign him.
That
But
is-
I learned that purpose-driven work from my mother.
Yeah.
Because it's not always about you. It's about how you can help others and how you can help uplift others.
Yeah.
And put others in places and in rooms that they're not in.
Well, you know, it's crazy that you said that because now I remember some of those jingles.
Yes.
I
The
know.
Luther Vandross.
And just iconic jingles from that era.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my God. So there's a legacy.
There is. Yep.
Yeah.
There's
There
a
is.
true. There's a true. There's a
So
true
there was a
legacy.
pathway. So and not to live in the music space, but that's what we do.
That's what we do.
So that was a legit pathway you built. You blow up in jingle world, then
Mm-hmm.
you have the opportunity to get into mainstream world.
Mainstream world, yeah.
Wow.
Usually jingles and background singing, but they were
Yeah.
kind of interchangeable.
Okay.
And then that's how you pretty much got discovered. Back then, again, it was a lane. I mean, if you weren't a mainstream artist, you weren't acting. There
Yeah.
was not social media. So, like I said, you could make majority of your money on jingles like my mother did.
Yeah.
But then back in, say, like the late 90s, it kind of changed.
Yeah.
Just with more platforms and
Yeah,
more types of media. And that's how we ended up to Jacksonville. We relocated. We actually fell on hard times, and that's the second part of my purpose-driven work is that you can be very successful, and then the next minute you could be one paycheck away from homelessness. And that's what happened to us.
Wow.
For the most part, we were doing well, but we were living beyond our means. And at the time, my mom transitioned to the Apollo, so she was running everyone knows Showtime at the Apollo.
yeah.
But there's a local Apollo every Wednesday. I don't know if it still goes on now, and that was the local Apollo. So if you lived in New York or the tri-state area, that was the local show that everyone went to. So my mom
Right.
produced
Iconic.
that.
Yeah, I remember
Iconic,
that.
absolutely.
It
Okay.
was still at the Apollo in Harlem,
Yep.
but it wasn't the TV.
It wasn't
one.
the Showtime. It wasn't
Yeah.
Steve
Right,
Harvey.
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
I went to
Kiki
a few of those.
Shepard, you know,
Right.
Showtime and the Apollo. Same format, same show,
Yeah.
but my mom produced the local show, so local talent, but people will come from everywhere.
Yeah.
And so my job every Wednesday, I was there every Wednesday. Make sure you rub the tree. I remember when a box of cassette tapes came, like 5 boxes of cassette tapes. I'm like, what is this? And she's like, I just got the job at the Apollo. This was 93, so I was 10. I just got the job at the Apollo, and I've got to watch all these cassette tapes.
Wow.
And she was like, no, me, you, and your brother are going to watch all these cassette tapes. And so we watched all the tapes, and from there, she picked the artist that would be on the show.
Wow.
And I always remember she would, if someone got booed, if Sandman came and got them off the stage, she would always tell them, come back. If you want to come back, I will make sure that you get an opportunity
That's
to
cool.
perform again. Because, I mean, I think Lauryn Hill got booed on the Apollo.
Yeah, some
several times.
quite a few.
iconic.
Some major
artists.
entertainers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, everything happens for a reason, but you got to have people there that are able to help and support you. And that's what I just learned from my mother from the years. And even when we fell on hard times financially, it always could have been worse.
Yeah.
There were others in a worse situation than we were. And it made me feel thankful because while we had it bad, it made me realize don't take things for granted, but then also there's people that are in worse situations than you are.
Yeah.
So while it may not be perfect, be thankful for what you have.
100%, absolutely.
Whoa, that's a mad history.
I know that's great, man. I mean, I do as long as we've known each other. That's some fun facts.
Yeah, that's
like,
fun. And I didn't know all that about your mother, just a little bit now. But I didn't know your father
Yeah.
was actually
Yeah,
in
yeah.
A&R and actually. And you know it's crazy. I remember in New York, there was a CPA firm, Padell, Nadell, Fine and Weinberg, and they used to handle Luther Vandross his books. And I remember they had in glass, his green outfit when he did a concert. And they had
Yeah.
like
Which he
like,
probably made. He made all the outfits.
I didn't know that either until recently.
That's crazy.
Man.
That's wild. So you guys get here to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Finance. Mm-hmm. That's a
because you deep in the music.
Because you should be by all stretches of the imagination.
Yeah,
I should be in the music.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mother and
It's in there.
father.
It's in there. That's where my creativity comes from.
Okay.
But it's there. But came to Jacksonville, finished high school, did not go the traditional college route because I got a really good job at the time, I thought, with Winn-Dixie.
Okay.
And so I chose the money over the education right out of high school. And during the financial crisis, there were a lot of layoffs happening in Winn-Dixie. They filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And so I lost my job. And at the time, I couldn't find a job because of the financial crisis, and also I didn't have a college degree, so I'm trying to figure out how do I make the money that I'm making at a very young age, but I don't have a college degree, but I had the experience with Winn-Dixie. And so I ended up taking a job at a payday loan company, and if you're familiar with payday loan companies, some people call it a trap or a scam, and it's I would say it's not intentionally made up that way, but it's for individuals that don't have credit or a credit challenge. Right. So you get a loan, you pay it back, but then you probably don't have the money saved up to not go back and have to get another loan because you borrow money, and then your next payday you have to pay it back. But then you're really putting a Band-Aid on a problem that's much larger, and so you have to continually go back and go back and go back. And I saw people that looked like me that would always get payday loans, pay $55 on $500, and then that's $55 out of a paycheck that's maybe $750. They have to wait 24 hours to get that money back for the cooling period. And so I became passionate about financial wellness. And that's how I ended up getting into banking. My first bank job was with Bob Johnson's bank from BET. So he had a bank, Axiom Bank. It used to be called Urban Trust Bank.
Wow, that was his.
And he focused on the underserved, the underbanked individuals. And so I always got into banking, or I tell people the reason why I enjoy banking is because, we're here to help people. We're here to advise people and guide people. And I was very lenient when I was a branch manager, and I said, because we have to help people. Like there's rules, and there's a ton of rules and regulations in banking, but let's figure out a way to help our members or our customers and not tell them no. And let's help them find the resources so that they can, send their kids to college, buy homes, get out of debt, et cetera. And so I spent most of my time in retail, and since 2022 have been in the community engagement space with VyStar.
Got you. So, wow.
I know, right?
You got a history.
That's mad. It's such an untraditional route into that. But it's so I get it now.
Yep.
It's like I get
it too now.
I get why you are who you are and why you do and why you're passionate like you are.
Passionate, but also worldly, for lack of better wording.
Yeah.
See a lot of viewpoints.
Yeah.
Especially, I got now. I'm again going back to your mother and father, because at that time, it was even challenging for Black music executives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At that time, I mean, it might be challenging today, but at least at that time,
especially at that time,
you had to show and prove.
Yep.
So for them, I
at the time when my mom took over the Apollo, they were going through financial challenges as well, and then artists back then. And in the Luther Vandross documentary, they kind of talk about it, how Luther was so talented, but then you compare it to the budget of David Bowie and the money and the money that the label put behind him, and then the money that they put behind Luther. And he's like so talented. Like he is, I don't know if there's any other male vocalist. He's probably, in my opinion, the best male vocalist.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with that.
As far as career too, like who had an iconic career and rose to superstar.
Yes.
Like you saw him start as a background singer and then rise to
He's on Sesame Street.
Right, hands down.
I remember that too. Not seeing the documentary, but I do remember he was on there.
Nah, that's amazing, man.
So then, all right. So now going back to earlier, thank you for sharing that. This is my opinion. When it comes to VyStar and the organization, it truly seems like your organization, your team, you guys get it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stay right there for a second.
Okay.
Y'all get it. So with that being said, share with me, like, y'all get it.
Yep.
And what does that look like? What does that feel like? Because we could talk to all kind of organizations, and you're not sure if people get it.
Right. I think our CEO, he came in 2017, and he's been in several places like Buffalo, like Alaska, but I think he's turned his learned experiences and just like what makes a city great and what Jacksonville lacks. So we didn't have a name on the arena, and most places, if you have a name on the arena or a sponsor, you can attract more concerts, more events, because there's more coming in from the naming rights deal. So the new arena at the time, the Veterans Memorial Arena, when it was built with the Better Jacksonville plan dollars, it was only for a veterans arena. So they had to keep the honoring it under veterans.
Right.
And so our CEO said, well, why don't we continue honoring our veterans and call it the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena? And I think as you've seen VyStar put our name on the arena, we've had more concerts, we've had more events. Because we're able to support the branding and supporting the organizations that are bringing the events here. And so same thing with the ballpark. That was acquired through a merger with 1-to-1 Financial. But now you've got VyStar Ballpark, VyStar Arena.
Yeah, that's huge.
And, it shows our commitment to the community of bringing entertainment, sports, because we know those events, when they come to our city, they create jobs for individuals. They put people in beds and hotels, and it brings people from outside of Jacksonville to see, hey, this is really a great place to live, work, and play. Same thing with the Mosh. So most cities have a thriving science and history museum, Mosh. And so we were one of the first to support Mosh with their relocation to the sports and entertainment complex, because you want to have that museum of science and history that is supporting the creativity of young people in the community. Same thing for the Emerald Trail. So most cities that are thriving have a walking or running trail. I think of Indianapolis, they have a really nice trail that goes through multiple sectors of the city. So the same thing with the Emerald Trail. So why don't we have that in Jacksonville? So instead of talking about it, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we've always been challenged to think creatively, thinking outside of the box, and what does our city lack, and how can we as an organization support that? So it just makes the city better. The other thing is we moved everyone downtown. So our corporate office headquarters were over in Clay County. We had a couple at the time. We had one in Fleming Island. We had one on the west side of Jacks. But if downtown's the hub, we bought the building, the VyStar Tower. We lit it up blue, so at night you see the nice neon blue lights.
Very nice.
And we moved all of our employees downtown to show our commitment to downtown Jacksonville. So,
speaking of your headquarters, obviously we've done several events there. Think Bowl Honors and some, the VyStar Mixer with Think Bowl. But when we go on that top floor, like the employees, the team members, they have to be like, that reminds me of like what Google
or something,
or
Facebook, Meta, or
yeah,
something. Yeah,
exactly. The
Silicon
pods,
Valley.
the sleeping pods. That cafeteria is not a cafeteria. That's like what was the theory behind the pinball machines?
Yep.
The ice cream machine. Like, I can just imagine when the team members, whether they're tired, they just want to take a break, they go up there, and it takes them to a whole nother relaxation point.
And
like,
I think it shows the commitment to the employees. So the top 2 floors are for employee spaces. In traditional corporate world, the top floor is for the executive team. So we wanted to show that commitment. I was in that building when it was a SunTrust Tower. And so the top 2 floors were the executive floor when it was a SunTrust Tower. And so now that is designated for employee spaces, networking, collaboration, and just honoring our commitment. One of our pillars, strategic focuses are world-class talent. So we want to attract world-class talent to the organization, and that's one of the ways we honor that as far as supporting our employees.
No, that's good. That's great, man. So for a sidebar question, what would you think, because we do have a pretty large small business audience, for small businesses to want to be a part of the VyStar ecosystem, how should they come prepared to you guys to be great? Because we know you're a great partner. Y'all are doing it all over the city, right? Y'all the biggest thing smoking. But how would you like to see small businesses come prepared to do business with VyStar. Somebody just started their LLC. They're optimistic about the future.
Yep.
When should they walk through the doors to start their journey?
Yep. It's never too early to walk in the door and start
Copy
the journey.
that.
And I'm not a commercial banker or a business banker, but
Yeah.
when I talk to the commercial bank or business bankers, they say, have a business plan.
Yeah.
Even if it's just an idea, have a business plan. So then that way the commercial banker could say, hey, you may not be ready for lending at this time, but we can get you to the Jack's Chamber. We can get you to Wealth Watchers, or we can get you to another type of financial solutions that can help you at that time if you're not ready for the traditional financial solutions. But there's so many great programs and incubators in Jacksonville. I know I mentioned the Chamber, like Jack's Bridges is one, that are helping entrepreneurs and small businesses start so that they can then go back to the bank or the credit union and say, hey, this person's ready for lending, or this person is ready to talk to a commercial banker to see if it's viable to receive some type of funding or lending. But outside of that, we can always help with deposit accounts too. And that shows that just building that relationship with that financial institution.
No, because that's so important because, a lot of people, like I said, in the optimism of starting your business, you're like, man, I want to go get a $250,000 line of credit, $250,000 loan because I got the best idea, and I just think it's important. And even us going through our journey as a business, it's important to understand metrics, right? Steps. Just go get the first base. That's one thing that Troy established. I done bid it like it's my own. Let's get the first base. We'll get the second base, third base, then we'll make a point.
Yep. And the city of Jack's doing some great things too with
major,
just supporting small businesses. Gregory Grant and his team, and then also Mayor Deegan, just making it easier to get permits and do business in Jacksonville, because that's one of the gripes we've heard from people looking to do business here. The process and the permitting and just getting what you need to have an event by the time you get what you need, the event's here and you just got the permit. So the city of Jacksonville doing some good work, just making it a business-friendly climate and a business-friendly city so that more entrepreneurs and small businesses want to come here and start their business.
That's good.
We used to be downtown. We're out east now.
Out east.
However, it looked to me, when you think about a downtown, any city, that's the heartbeat of a city, of a community. What you folks are doing downtown is like you're building, you're thinking bold. The new parking garage.
Yes.
Like we watched that because our office was right across the street. And so we would watch that. And matter of fact, we saw when I guess a bunch of construction guys and gals were out there. Like we saw when they first lit it blue.
Yeah.
They was testing it out one night. So like what was the thought process of becoming a part of the heart?
Yep. So it goes back to what I said earlier about like the arena, the ballpark. So the thought is that it's not just VyStar, it's how can we involve multiple partners, whether nonprofit, for-profit partners. So for example, the 4th Street parking garage has Dynamo Pizza and Pour Tap Room. So one of the gripes about Jacksonville is there's not a lot of places to eat, to dine. So we just didn't build a parking garage. We built a parking garage with restaurants, 2 nonprofits.
One is it Sing or something? What
The
is that?
Jacksonville Kids
It's
Choir.
the Sing sign, yes.
Yes, the Sing sign.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
The Children's Chorus.
Children's Chorus, yeah.
Lonnie March, former Jaguar player, his nonprofit, Level the Playing Field,
really?
is also in the building
I
as
didn't know
well.
that.
And
Okay.
Read USA. So we have 3 nonprofits and then your restaurant retailer. So the idea is that we want people to come downtown, or our employees come downtown, visit the restaurants. Same thing with our building. We have about 3 or 4 parcels that are outfitted for restaurants and retail space. And so you'll see kind of some new things happening in the VyStar Tower retail space, but then also the 4th Street parking garage. And again, just, we all know that there's a need to have more retail and restaurants.
Yeah.
So why don't we do it? Like VyStar can do it. So, and we did it. So, and that's, I would say, we see a need and then we just don't say, okay, here's a need and let someone else solve it. We really try to figure out, how can we solve a need? And if we can't do it by ourselves, how can we bring a partner along with us to help us solve that need in the community?
Because you guys didn't you do a partnership with the grocery store out east. Is that
Deb's store,
Deb's,
yeah.
yeah.
So out east is a food desert, and so with VyStar, with Lift Jacks, with Florida Blue and Goodwill, along with JTA, and I think the PGA Tours is partnering with the deliveries to ensure that folks that don't have transportation can have the fresh food delivered. But this is a food desert, and it's not far from an NFL stadium.
Yeah.
And so those organizations came together, and not only is it a grocery store, but upstairs we teach financial wellness classes. Florida Blue helps and supports with health insurance, and then Goodwill helps with hiring folks in the community for jobs that they have in their job bank, and then JTA makes sure there's a bus stop in front of Deb's store so that folks that don't have that transportation can ride the bus to Deb's store.
That's good.
So,
That's bold thinking.
Yeah, that's
right there.
bold thinking.
That's bold collaboration.
yep.
And that's why I'm so excited about you sharing all of this, because I think as people become informed about all the things that we have down here, it because Jacksonville, it's a large city, right? But I think it'll give people more incentive to know, okay, if I'm downtown for me, I can stop.
Yep.
I can go here, I can go there. There's different, ecosystems that I can get things done in, as far as chilling out with my family and with what they're doing with where the old landing used to be. I forgot what it's called. It's
What's
like a
going
Jack's
on over
Park
there?
or something now.
The park,
The old landing?
across the street from you guys.
So it's going to be a park. There's also going to be, I believe, a restaurant and some retail space on the bottom of it. And so activation space, I think when the community kind of said, what do we want to see? Just more activation on the riverfront with parks. If you look at Tampa, they've done a good job with their waterfront and just kind of just connecting their waterfront to different types of activations, whether it's parks, retail, pop-up events, activating the river for boat, and just different types of like river cruises. And so it's coming. The cranes are here, and
The cranes are
when
here.
you see the cranes, you got the Four Seasons.
Yeah, that's good.
The revitalization of Met Park.
Yeah.
I said Mosh earlier. You got the Orlick that's here. We have all these great assets along the river that we're now finally figuring out how to tap into and how to make sure that it attracts people, and we have that attraction. That's that one thing. If you were to tell someone, hey, I'm in Jacksonville, where do I go?
Yeah.
That's one of the areas that we need to improve in. Is some cities you could say, well, go downtown or go here or go there, but we don't have that destination. And so, which makes us unique. And, we don't have to be like any other city, but what I think you'll see with Jacksonville is that in about 10 years, at the most, you'll see that there's going to be so much to do in downtown that you'll be able to pick from. And
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
Now, so I got a couple questions, and I know we'll wrap up. But first of all, we want to thank you.
Yeah.
We want to thank you. We want to thank VyStar for partnering with Think Bold, being the presenting partner, which is huge. It's huge for us.
Huge, major, yeah.
It's made Think Bold continue to grow, this partnership. And then also just all the other assets to be able to have Think Bold Honors, which will be the second annual for 26. The team members there are extraordinary. To work with them, Veronica, the whole team, you guys got an extraordinary set of folks. But I want to ask you, for you, and all you're doing when it comes to impacting our community and your position, like what's some of the bold thought process that you have moving forward into the next year or two?
to take risks, and I'll tell you why. From a business standpoint, Jacksonville is a growth market for pretty much. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the country, so it's a growth market. I know in financial services, every financial institution is figuring out how can we get into Jacksonville, and so for us, where we have large market share, we don't want to lose our market share.
Yeah.
We want people to continue to be members with VyStar or join VyStar or think of us when they need financial services, and so you've got to take risks because the landscape's changing. And so there's markets and segments maybe that we're not looking at, and it's how do we get into those markets and segments and tap those individuals, because we want everyone to be a member of VyStar. And that's looking at things we traditionally wouldn't necessarily sponsor, but if that's an affluent or growing segment of people, we need to look at that.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that we're touching as many people as possible. And so, taking risks, and risk is taking a risk. Sounds bad, but it's not necessarily it's a bad thing. It's just, okay, we can't continue to do the same thing over and over again, because we don't want to be like Kmart. We don't want to be like Sears. We want to be here for another 70 years, and we've got to continue to be innovative and think outside of the box.
That's good.
But then also the flip side of it is, so many people come up to me and say, and maybe it's not me, but it's someone in another department or in a branch or a back office that said, hey, this individual or this group's doing great things. They only need $500 or they only need $1,000. It's not always the large sums of money. Mm-hmm. And so many people are so appreciative just to say, hey, I just had an idea. I had a nonprofit. I did a Thanksgiving drive, or I did a donation drive for those that were in need. And, VyStar gave, $500, and that helped me so much. Yeah. Even that little amount. So we just try to think creatively and how we can give back.
And you got your ear. You got your ear to the community. Yep. I think that's the most important.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think about our high school program. So we have 19 high school branches throughout Florida where the high school students run the branches. We pay them a salary, and they actually run the branch on the campus of the high school.
That. Wow.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yep.
That's
So the goal
amazing.
is, we're helping those communities that don't have, may not have a financial institution. Only students and teachers can access the branch, but it gets the kids to go home to talk to their parents about, hey, I'm running a credit union branch at my school, and I'm getting paid to do it, and I'm getting credit to do it. But then they can continue along the journey with us through our management development program if they choose to do so, or our college internship program, and they get to work in a VyStar branch throughout the summer as well. And so, they're working with their peers and talking about financial wellness and helping their peers and their teachers open accounts.
But that's so cool, because that's such a, like you said, it's teaching the kids. But like you say, I can imagine them going home to their parents with the excitement about financial literacy. Like, I'm learning this, I'm learning that. And that would prompt, I know me as a parent, that would prompt me to be like, oh, okay. Let me make sure I can talk this talk with
along with a paycheck.
Along with a paycheck, absolutely.
So, brother, in closing, come on. First of all, we want to thank you.
Yeah, man.
Again, we want to thank you. Thank you again. Thank VyStar Credit Union as our partner, our presenting partner. But is there anything that we might have missed that you want to share, or anything that y'all got up your sleeves, or we know.
I don't want to tell all our secrets.
Right? Right. I do got a question for you after you answer, if you got something.
Yeah, and I'll say we're growing. So, and that's the great thing about it. So, we recently expanded to Metro Atlanta. So now we're in Metro Atlanta, Savannah, Jacksonville, over to Tallahassee, and then down to I say the West Coast, like Ocala, the Villages, and then over through Orlando to the Space Coast. But we just put our name on the KSU Arena, Kennesaw State University. So depending on when this comes out, it will be VyStar Arena at that time, but we're having the ribbon cutting in early November. So we have our first arena naming rights in the Metro Atlanta at Kennesaw State. And then we put our name on the VyStar Amphitheater at the Bridge in Stockbridge, Georgia. So south of
I saw that
Atlanta.
one.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I saw that, and I got so excited because you guys got a great show coming up. I kept thinking that was here in Jacksonville. And then I started looking at the tickets. I just saw the VyStar. And I just started looking at the tickets. I was like, this is not Jacksonville. This is Georgia.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So again, it shows our commitment to, we're new in the Metro Atlanta market, but to have 2 naming rights deals already, I think it's been about maybe 2 years since we've been in the market with branches. Just shows our commitment to continue to grow.
That's amazing.
We want to become the credit union of the South. That is our motto. VyStar to be the credit union of the South.
Y'all are on track. Yep, definitely.
No doubt. You were saying,
man. So before we let you go, you got to give me top 3 albums of all time that if you could only listen to 3 more for the rest of your life, What would be your top 3?
Top 3 albums of all time.
Any genre.
That is tough.
I know, right?
That is
You're
tough.
on the spot.
On the spot.
And this is work related too.
Oh,
Copy that. Well, we won't
yeah.
add that. Okay.
So I'm actually I'm a huge Mariah Carey fan, believe it or not. A lot of
Okay.
people don't know
Okay.
that. Not more so her new music,
Yeah.
but her old
Yeah,
music.
Traditional.
So
Vision of Love.
Yeah.
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 Classic.
And so Emancipation of Mimi is actually just because of the producers, Brian Michael Cox,
Yep.
Jermaine Dupri, Jonta Austin that worked on that album. That is a classic. Like you put on today, it's a classic
timeless.
R&B
Absolutely.
album. That's in my opinion her best album. Chronic 2001, Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Love that album.
That was a great.
To me,
album.
I like comeback albums, and that makes sense. That's I think I like Emancipation of Mimi just because, she was down and out in her career and really couldn't get a hit.
Yeah.
And then this album just came out of nowhere. Same thing with Dr. Dre, Chronic 2001.
Yeah, that's right. That was right.
He
when
came
he broke
back. It was a
away.
big, big album. And what is the third one? Need a third one. Probably any of Biggie. Any of Biggie's albums.
I can go for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can go for that.
So you go with that, Troy?
Yeah, we argue. We'll argue here all day, but I can go for that one. I can go for that.
Nah,
one.
that's good. That's
That's
good.
good. No, brother, we appreciate
Yeah.
you coming out.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
for sure.
you giving us time. I can go for those 3 selections.
Hey, you go for those 3? Yeah, I go
Yeah,
for those
yeah.
3 too. I love
Yeah,
me. I like the Mariah one too
Yeah,
because
me too,
that's
'cause I
when she
forgot.
broke away from Tom. No, I don't want to say break away, but after her divorce from Tommy Mottola, she was a part of that mega system. She was Sony at that time.
yeah,
was, yep.
she was.
And then to go and then come back to her, because hip hop in New York are synonymous, and to come back to traditional hip hop producers after all that pop success, that was a big,
Well,
that was a bold move.
Yeah, she went back to.
Yeah,
she really went back to
Jermaine.
R&B.
Yeah, she went back to
Yeah.
R&B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Went back to
So that's good. But yeah, man, that was
Brother, we
good.
appreciate you
Good
giving us
stuff.
the
And
time.
we'll use that as a clip. We off, but we'll use that as a clip, and that way, if we'll keep it separated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And make sure you see that.
Well, thank you, brother. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
your
out.
time.
For real, for real.
Thank you.
And thanks for the partnership.
Yeah.
No problem.
Think Bold Festival.
Think bold.